which is now coming in and where N. Chandra has decided to step down?
First of all, I would resist from calling it a boardroom fight. I think what is happening is that the entire governance mechanism and the leadership rails of the group are being reset. And the attempt is to do it in a professional and very Tata like manner. And therefore, I think we should all feel very respectful towards Mr. Chandrasekaran that he, instead of allowing it to become a fight as you had characterized it, he stepped away. And so we should have deep respect for that professionalism. At the same time, I think we should recognize that there come times in a $180 billion group when leadership, governance, and all these issues get reset. And we should wait to see the full reset getting played out before we reach any conclusions. This would be my very considered view on the matter.
Mr. Haribhakti, it's not. I'm not talking about the fight with in the boardroom. It's basically the disagreement between the majority shareholder and the board, and that's what is playing out here, right?
No, not at all. I think we should not characterize it as a disagreement and a dissonance or anything of that kind. As I said, the entire structure of leadership and governance is being reset. And a person as professional as Mr. Chandrasekaran decided that he would not offer himself for appointment. We don't know what will happen. It's still not absolutely clear. I think this is just a breaking news, as you call it. We don't know what's going to be the next few steps, how he's going to think about it, what persuasion happens. We'll have to wait to see the outcome. I don't think we should jump to conclusions about this being dissonant or not in line with the professionalism that all of us associate so strongly with the Tata Group.
And how do you look at the fact that it's coming up just a few days before the AGM? The AGM was supposed to, reappoint N. Chandrasekaran as a director. If it was a professional transition as you are saying, it could have been much better planned.
Not really. I think every decision has its own time, and people like to consider all issues, all factors, and then take a call. So I don't think we should associate any adverse meaning to the fact that it happened today. And we still don't know what is going to play out. So I'm just saying, let's hold it until we see what happens at the AGM. We see what views are taken and how the whole transition is managed.
Just hold on. We have Mr. Sriram Subramaniam, founder and MD at InGovern, as also joining us. Sriram, what is your take on this resignation?
Good morning. Yes, it is indeed a total surprise. I would think his term, which was due to end, was considered even in February. The board did not take it up, and it looks like Mr. Chandrasekhar himself wanted a 5-year term, and but because of the age limit, which is 65, that the Tata Group has, I would think there was disagreement with Mr. Noel Tata and other board members. Tenure seems to be one of the, I would say, sticking points. The other is obviously issues with loss-making group companies and capital allocation thereof. So all these seem to have played out. I disagree with Mr. Haribhakti that there was no disagreement or there was no sticking point out there. There seems to have been a lot of dissonance within the board members, especially after Mr. Noel Tata took over as chairman of Tata Sons. So, I mean, not chairman, came in onto the board of Tata Sons. So I would think all these is playing out as hopefully this will settle down. Mr. Chandrasekhar's successor would be more amenable to the board's, I would say, directions. And hopefully the Tata Group will have some semblance of stability thereon.
Mr. Haribhakti, do you think the transition to be smoother? Mr. Chandrasekaran may be asked to stay on till the new successor comes in and the handover happens?
I cannot speculate on that, but I can certainly reassert my view that there comes times in the history of a enterprise as large as Tata's when certain things need to be reset and re-looked at, and that's what seems to be happening. I really can't bring myself to think that this is as a result of any great fight or dissonance or disagreements.
Mr. Shailesh Haribhakti, thank you very much for giving us your
Thank you.
perspective. We still have Mr. Subramaniam with us. Mr. Subramaniam, what is the kind of impact that you see on various Tata companies, companies because of this resignation?
So investors of listed Tata Group companies, I don't think should be immediately worried because each of these listed operating companies have their own boards and able management, and they have their own capital allocation policies. So I don't think there will be any immediate impact on any of the listed operating companies.
Just hold on. We have Amit Tandon also joining us, founder and MD IIAS. That's also an investor advisory body. Amit, what's your take on Mr. Chandra's resignation?
Good morning. Look, my sense is that while his resignation, I would best describe it as not entirely unexpected, just given some of the signals that have been emanating from the group over the past few months. His relationship with Noel Tata and with the Trusts, which holds a majority control in the company, had become somewhat strained over issues of performance of the newer businesses as well as the strategic direction the company was taking. In a sense, it shows kind of, the unique structure which is there between the trusts and the operating companies, and how is that going to be resolved. We saw that play out with Cyrus Mistry when he was there itself. But before I kind of comment on it, I would say that, look, his tenure since 2017 did bring a lot of stability to the group. If we go back to those years, there was issues with regarding Tata Motors. For the most, that has been resolved. There were issues with regard to the telecom business. That has actually been put behind us. So for a large conglomerate like that, there will be certain pockets of turbulence which you need to kind of address at any given moment of time. Those were different businesses. There are a different set of different businesses now. But I will say that there was some degree of stability, some structural tension between the trust and the professional management is bound to exist, which is not necessarily unhealthy. But what has not been good is the fact that a lot of it played out in the newspapers. I will just say that, look, with regard to the operating businesses, we don't expect it to have a significant impact. What we do, they have a very strong leadership in each of the operating businesses. Each of the operating businesses has a strong board and strong leadership. So the businesses should continue. Of course, there is, you do hit air pockets periodically, which doesn't mean that it needs to be catastrophic, but it just means that you have to fly through it, whether it kind of lasts for a short while or whether it's kind of a little bit extended, we'll have to see. But that's how I'm kind of viewing events at this moment.
How do you look at the fact that one of the contentious issues is also with respect to Tata Sons listing? Now, RBI came out with a list recently last week where Tata Sons name was there as part of the upper layer and BFC, but it did also say that there's an application pending there. Is that also a contentious issue of listing?
Look, it is a contentious issue, but on that, I don't know how much is in control within the group and how much of it is something which the regulator has. So the regulator has a set of guidelines. The group has been very clear, saying that given our unique structure, we will want it to be, we don't want it to be a listed entity. And you can argue that there some merits in that, in the sense that if it were a listed company, would it be able to kind of take some of the bets it did, which is bet on the Air India turnaround, kind of invest in semiconductors, invest in the electronics business, which when they started it some years ago, we did not know whether it will take this form and shape and size. So you are actually all the time taking some of these bets. Is it best served through a listed company? Is it done through an unlisted company? My sense is some of these are better sensed through an unlisted company. But having said so, it's quite outside the control of the management. It's a decision which RBI has to take, and they have their guidelines. Whether they want to make an exception in the case of Tata's, under what circumstances, it's for the RBI to decide.
And from a governance point of view, there is a lot of capex-oriented, industries that Tata Sons has entered into, including semiconductors, batteries. Do you think, that are going to be something? It's a long gestation period, and it will take time for that to play out. But in the interim, there could be a slow roll on all those capex.
Sure. Look, at the end of the day, that's the point I was making, that if you have if you have a listed company which is making some of these bets with large capex, it may not go down well with the market. If it is held within an unlisted company, then the market really at one level does not, will shrug it aside. They'll kind of keep an eye on it, but not. Importantly, so that's how I'm seeing it at this moment. So to the extent it's not impacting any of the listed businesses, or not significantly, I don't think the market needs to worry about some of what has happened at this stage.
Amit, just hold on. There's a statement which has come from Tata Sons on this resignation. And I'm going to read it out for you. It basically says that I have completed 40 years of professional life, and this is a statement coming from N. Chandrasekaran. I have completed 40 years of professional life at Tata Group. I am grateful for the immense satisfying opportunity to contribute to this venerable institution. Leading Tata Sons over the past decade has been a great honor and profound responsibility. My current tenure as chairman of Tata Sons comes to an end on Feb 2027. Sir Dorabji Tata Trust and Sir Ratan Tata Trust had unanimously resolved and recommended the extension of my next term for a period of 5 years, which was recorded and recommended by the Tata Sons Nomination and Remuneration Committee and the board. Subsequently, the resolution was tabled in the Tata Sons board on Feb 24th, 2026. However, the proposal was not carried through because one of the board members did not support it. And in the absence of unanimous support, I choose to defer the decision. It has been 6 months since the board meeting and no resolution has been reached till date. Tata Sons is a very large institution and there are many strategic projects that are under critical stages of execution. It is not only necessary to have a leader in place to lead the group beyond Feb 2027, but also clarity on leadership is important for employees, investors, partners, and other stakeholders. Under these circumstances, earlier today, I have communicated to the Tata Sons board that I have decided not to offer myself for reappointment when my term ends on Feb 2027. I have asked the board to decide on the succession soon to ensure a proper transition. I am grateful for the support of all stakeholders. So he's going to stay on till his end of tenure. That's what it means, Amit.
he has the tenure, so he will, and that kind of does give him a chance to get involved with the finding a successor, and hopefully there will be a smooth transition. Look, as I said, you cannot, while you can question some of his, the decision with regard to whether it's Air India or with regard to the Neo app, etc. But you can't take away from the fact that he brought some degree of urgency to the businesses which the Tatas do. Each of the businesses has focused very clearly on the bottom line and said that, look, what is it that we can do and how is it that we can perform, keeping in account the various shareholders and the shareholders' interests. There has been a significant change which has happened in the group and in terms of the businesses, in terms of the focus on the financials, and that we need to kind of recognize and give him full credit for. So, yeah, and as he said, not all the board members were in agreement, and I believe under the trust rules, the announcements need to be unanimous. So, therefore, we'll have to wait and watch and see how it plays out. I'm sure while on this, there's going to be, this is too sudden to comment on it, but I'm sure there will be enough commentary in terms of what his contributions have been and how well, what he's done, what he's accompanied, how much the profile of the group has changed over the last few years.
Sriram, what is your take on this, the statement that has come in from N. Chandra?
The positive aspect of it is that he will complete his tenure, and there will likely be a smooth transition if there is a successor who is put out much ahead, or the board decides on a successor quickly. So I would think that is a very positive, this one. It is not that he resigned today and his, I would say, term ends today or immediately. So the board obviously will consider his resignation and appoint a successor, hopefully very quickly. And then there will be a smooth transition and amicable, I would say, transition.
Amit, one thing that is standing out is that despite Tata Trust unanimously backing and 5-year extension, just because you have Mr. Noel Tata opposing it in the board, this decision has been taken, and for 6 months there has been no resolution to it. Is that a little disappointing coming in from the Tata Sons?
Look, different people have different perceptions. Now, what we do believe is that there needs to be an alignment between the shareholding, the board, and the management. Now, in any case, if for whatever, and we won't get into who's, whether it's right, wrong, or whatever, but just if the alignment is broken, it is not good for the businesses and it's not good for shareholders. So therefore, the way we see it is that, look, it's much, much better if, some of these differences, I'm guessing that either you kind of sit across the table and resolve the differences. If it is not, then the various persons who are part of the equation, there needs to be one of them has to come in and, or rather one of them has to go out is a better way to put it. Now, given the shareholding, given the role of the trust, given the role of the community, you would have thought that it's not going to happen with Mr. Noel Tata, and therefore it will be with Chandra. It just so happens that the age, the fact that his term is getting over, etc., meant that this may be just maybe the smoothest way for things to play out. But look, you cannot disregard the fact that you need alignment between shareholders and the management, which in this case seems to have been broken.
Interestingly, Mr. Chandra is also raising the issue of succession planning is now the immediate focus. I was under the impression that the Tata Sons have put in a succession planning in some way. Can you, Shriram, can you comment on that? Because for last 6 months, the entire decision was almost no decision was taken on the succession.
Well, I don't think they have, in that sense, for probably immediate departures, that is unplanned departures, they may have a succession plan. But since this is a planned departure, as the statement put out says, so it's going to be, there is a possibility that the board could decide on some other, I would say, candidate than what succession they have for unplanned departures.
Do you classify this as an unplanned one, given the fact that the entire thing was playing out from February 2026?
No, I wouldn't think this can be classified as unplanned. February 2027. So there is a transition period that takes place. So, I mean, while it's not totally planned, but it was not unexpected either. And there is a 6-month time frame. If the board can quickly zero in on a candidate, the transition can be smooth.
Amit, how do you see this transition happening? Because it's again next 6 months odd, which will be key. Because what Chandra has put in is that he would continue till his term, which is February 2027, which also means that his appointment as a director, which is in the forthcoming AGM, would have to be cleared for him to remain as a chairman, right?
Look, I think this is completely, it is very professional behavior on behalf of Mr. Chandrasekaran because, he's decided to resign. There is, as he pointed out in his press release, that the board had some time ago endorsed his continuing for another 5-year terms. That clearly has, come into conflict with the fact that there is a tenure till the age of 65 versus another 5 years, which would have taken him past his tenure. So this would have kind of weighed on his mind, and therefore he's decided to step down. Now, 6 months, we can argue whether 6 months is enough, whether it should have been 1 year, whether something should have happened before. But I would say that 6 months is a reasonable period of time to kind of identify and find a successor if you want to go ahead. And it also gives Mr. Chandra a say, because he knows what the challenges are, to identify, a say in terms of who the right person is, given the gaps which might need to be addressed within the group. And he's best placed to kind of figure out what those are, and also hand over and, say how he was, I'm sure he's been thinking about some of the challenges which have been there in the group over the last, few quarters, and therefore he will have a point of view. I don't think it's something that he would have said, okay, let it kind of play itself out. He would be kind of been addressing some of these issues. Some of them happen immediately. Some of them take a little bit longer. That's the nature of things. Which is there. So I expect that things will kind of chug along at a pace where there is a smooth handing over of the baton from one person to the next.
Amit, how will you term the tenure of nearly a decade? Because when Cyrus Mistry quit, there was a lot of issues with respect to what he wanted to do with the group in terms of alignment of various businesses, consolidation within the group. We saw under Chandra, Chandra also did something similar, but in a very refined manner, which he did it, including value unlocking for Tata Motors group there, or for that matter, the listing of Tata Technologies or Tata Capital, which came into being. Do you think there's more work left in the group for alignment and consolidation within the group?
Look, the first is any group of this scale and size, there will always be some work to be done. But I think, you have to look at it. Mr. Chandrasekaran came from TCS, where the focus was on quarterly numbers and what is happening on a quarter-to-quarter basis. And I think he brought in that discipline within the group where, focus on some of the ratios, focus on the return on capital employed, focus a little bit on capital allocation decisions, focus a lot more in terms of what the dividend payouts are. So some of what he would have kind of experienced as the CEO of TCS and some of those practices would have certainly flowed through the group, and that is very clear when you kind of look at how the group has done. So that is how I will kind of say that he has done a reasonably good job with regard to the various businesses and other listed companies. So is some work left? It's always left, but that's true for anything which you do. And if you've got a group of over 100 companies, there will be places which need more attention at any given moment of time. But I think we don't have to look at things from a very short, 1 quarter, 2 quarter perspective, but look at it in terms of what is it going to happen over a period of time. There's a very interesting op-ed by Ashish Dhawan this morning. He's got a co-author with him, but Ashish, where he says that, look, when the Tatas invested in the Institute of Science or when they invested in the, it wasn't something which they said that, you're going to see the outcome in 3 months or 6 months or 1 year. It was something as a part of thinking about the very long term. So some of these things are also there where you say that, look, we are developing India's capabilities in certain sectors, or the fact that you want Air India has been a part of our national fabric and therefore it needs to be kept alive. So we'll kind of wait and watch and see how some of these things play out. Maybe they do stabilize. Maybe 1 or 2 of them have been bets which have been a little bit too large to chew, but I'm not going to judge them today based on the event that, Mr. Chandrasekaran has stepped down.
What do you think is the challenges which is left to be resolved for the Tata Sons Group? Sriram, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. So I think the unfinished or the challenges, of course, is ensuring that the large loss-making companies turn around quickly, because these are capital guzzlers. Because IT, their biggest cash cow has been TCS, and of course IT services is facing a challenge. TCS is as a stock is in a multi-year low. So as such, Tata Group at the holding company will find it challenging if they continue to rely only on TCS as a cash cow. So I think their challenge is to quickly turn around their unlisted businesses, ensure that capital is preserved or utilized prudently, and then I would think have many more, I would say, cash generating companies.
Okay, just hold on, Sriram and Amit. I have my colleague Anurag Joshi joining in from just outside the Bombay House. Anurag, do you have an update from there?
So the update we have is that we have the letter which N. Chandrasekaran has written to the Tata Sons board, in which he has expressed his desire to step down as the chairman of Tata Sons, and he's conveyed that in the letter, and he's communicated to the Tata Sons board that he's decided not to seek reappointment at the end of his term on February 20, 2027, and he's asked the board significantly to start and decide decide on the succession soon, so that there's a proper transition for the Tata Group. And one of the key reasons he has cited in the letter is that there has been a lack of resolution, and after the Tata Sons board meeting, which happened in February to ratify his third term. That meeting in February was very significant because in that meeting, Noel Tata, who's the chairman of Tata Trusts, owning a majority stake in Tata Sons, he had put two key conditions that he ensures that Tata and Chandrasekaran ensures that Tata Sons remains an unlisted company and no IPO takes place. And secondly, that there is a clear roadmap on the profitability for the group, especially certain businesses such as Air India and Tata Digital.
Thanks, Anurag, for that update. Amit and Shriram will connect back with you later on in the day. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll step into a small break and we'll